Matt Walsh
Oh
says,
boy!
so this is regarding the America 250 thing with a bunch of people dropping out. It says, imagine if conservatives, rather than pathetically crawling around on the ground to lap up discarded pop culture crumbs, actually went out and advanced their own creative and artistic vision. Imagine if we used an event like this to actually elevate our own artists and make them famous. What a crazy thought.
I think he's saying that because he desperately wants to be the famous one and he thinks he's an artist because he makes documentaries. But I do actually agree with him a little bit on this one.
In other news, the Daily Wire, which is the company that was trying to do that, is going bankrupt.
Yep.
So, yeah. What do you get when conservatives actually tried to do that? Chip Chilla.
Daily Wire's trying to do that, and there's a bunch of weird righties on the internet that think that it's because of the popularity of Nick Fuentes that the Daily Wire's hemorrhaging money. I don't understand how, but it's a take I've heard. It's weird. Less Than Lucid says, right-wing art. Well, so here's the thing, Less Than Lucid. Art is anything that a human produces that can be seen as art. It needs to have human production, and then, like with porn, it's going to be very much eyes of the beholder. I think that any type of art can communicate a message, even if that message is a bad message. So right-wingers 100% can make art. Like 100%.
Sometimes even good art. Tolkien was conservative.
I was about to say, yeah, Tolkien, like...
He was amazing.
We owe fantasy to Tolkien.
Watch those businesses die of lack of business. I think Dark Falcon is a little behind in the stream. That sounds like back in the government shouldn't be run as businesses, part of the conversation. But yeah, no, so Tolkien, conservative, really good art. But the problem is conservatives today are overly obsessed with culture war bullshit. So they can't just make art. They have to make art that dunks on the lips. So like if you read Lord of the Rings, there's a lot of conservatism in that. The progress, the machines of Saruman are a bad thing, and they're very, I know Tolkien doesn't really like allegory, and he wouldn't like me saying this, but it is pretty clearly a statement on modernity, like the machines of war and these mechanistic things, like that's bad. We need to go back and return to nature and just be farmers and shit. Like that is a very clear through line of the trilogy, is that like the kind of backwater culture that are seen as like the hobbits are the conservative culture. They're just a bunch of farmers who want to be left alone. And it's Saruman and Sauron who are doing the innovation, and the innovation is bad and it's used for war and stuff. So like it's an inherently conservative book, but it's an excellent book. And he didn't write it to dunk on the libs. C.S. Lewis, on the other hand, was like, fuck Susan, she wore lipstick. And as a result, Narnia, not as good, because he was more focused on the dunk on the libs part.
Man, I remember when I was in private school and our teacher actually would read us a chapter of Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe at the end of every period. Like, that was a good memory.
Yeah, like, I remember enjoying the books, but like it's kind of like a Harry Potter situation. Like, I enjoyed them when I was a Christian kid. Like, looking back on them now, I'm like, yeah, the whole Susan deserves to go to hell because she wore lipstick and liked boys. Like, no. That was... Why'd you do that, C.S. Lewis?
That's
definitely not the only problem with the books, but...
Master has given Dobby a Glock. Dobby is thug.
God damn it. Frank Turek says, other faiths will have martyrs, but they think it's true, but they don't know it's true. In Christianity, we have people who saw an empirical claim.
But no, Frank, no, you have the exact same standard of evidence for your religion as they do. Like,
you don't, like, we have people who knew it was, like, no, you have accounts that at the earliest were written 400 years after they died, claiming that they said it was true, in the same book that they claim that Jesus came out of the tomb as a giant with a talking cross behind him. Like, if you're going to tell me that the disciples dying for the lie or whatever, and they knew it was true, is actually true based on that book, you have to explain to me why you don't also think Jesus emerged from the tomb as a giant with a talking cross.
This is the S.J. Thomason thing. What's the most compelling argument that you have for Christianity? Oh, the martyrdom of the saints. The martyrdom? The fact that they died for it? So you're saying the most compelling reason that the United States military is good is because we have soldiers that died? And that's also the same standard of evidence you would give for, like, the Taliban?
Disciples would have been in a position to know whether or not it's a lie. Everybody else is just convinced that it's true, but they wouldn't actually know that it's a lie.
Right,
Somehow that is a different thing to them.
Yeah, but I also know that the magician in front of me pulled his fingers through a loop that shouldn't have been possible, so that was magic, actually.
Oh, my thumb comes off. My thumb comes off.
Yep.
Ah! It's not the great angle for that. Old Gus says, yeah, Tolkien was in the trenches of World War I and wrote Lord of the Rings from 1937 to 1949. I think something was influencing his views on modernism in the war. Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with that. But it isn't his books, like if you read them, they are very conservative. That doesn't make them bad. Conservative does not equal bad. Modern conservative usually does equal bad because they are so obsessed with dunking on the libs. But yeah. Also, Mere Christianity was written during World War II, and it's actually astounding to me that on the same page, C.S. Lewis will be like, "Hey, using like one of the reasons we know that God is real is because all cultures throughout all time have agreed on morality."
What? No, they haven't.
And on the same page, he'll be, "We can all agree that the Nazis are bad."
But the Nazis didn't agree with that.
The Nazis don't agree on morality then. Like, it's a new one, Talking Cross. Which book is that from? I want to say Gospel of Thomas, maybe? I don't know. I'm sure Google knows. Let's see what Google's AI overview tells me. Apocryphal book with giant Jesus and talking cross. Gospel of Peter. And that's coming from jmm.org, not the AI overview. I'm pretty sure that's also the one where we get Peter being crucified.
Peter!
And preaching to people for 2 days while he's on the cross.
Wasn't he also crucified upside down?
No, that was Andrew, I think.
Ha, my teacher lied to me.
No, Andrew was the X-shaped cross. I don't fucking know. Watch Apologia video. Do I look like Apologia? He's the expert.
Peter, what are you doing on the cross, Peter?
Hey, Peter. What you doing up there? I know.
Hey,
I'm bad at it. I'm
Peter.
sorry.
Peter.
That's the only person on that show who I could ever get a decent impression of, and I know my impression was bad. So
Joe Swanson?
Yeah. It's only because my voice is kind of deep sometimes. It's actually a little higher pitched today than normal. I think I've got a thing going on.
Jessa said Peter's cross was the upside down cross. Okay, I thought I remembered that correctly.
Because there are a lot of them that it's like, yeah, it was this way in one book, but it was this way in another book. And apologists will be like, well, we don't know which one it was, but we know that it was true.
Hey, Lois, remember that time I was crucified and gave sermons? Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.